Zionism is a sophisticated and multifaceted movement that has played a pivotal role in shaping the modern history of the Jewish people and the State of Israel. Understanding its keywords can provide deeper insight into its principles, goals, and challenges. Here are 15 essential terms that every Zionist should know. Number 1, Aliyah. Aliyah, meaning ascent in Hebrew, refers to the immigration of Jews to the land of Israel. This term encapsulates the religious, cultural, and historical significance of Jews returning to our ancestral homeland. Aliyah has been a central tenet of Zionism, encouraging Jews worldwide to settle in Israel and contribute to the nation-building process. Number 2, the four holy cities. The four holy cities of Judaism are the cities of Jerusalem, Hebron, Safed, and Tiberias, the four main centers of Jewish life after the Ottoman conquest of Palestine. Jerusalem has been the holiest city in Judaism and the spiritual center of the Jewish people since the 10th century BC, when the site was chosen during the lifetime of King David to be the location of the Holy Temple. Historically, Hebron was the first capital of King David. The Cave of the Patriarchs in Hebron is the burial place of the Jewish patriarchs: Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, and Leah. As such, Hebron is the second holiest city to Jews and is one of the four cities where Israelite biblical figures purchased land. Abraham bought a field and a cave east of Hebron from the Hittites. King David bought a threshing floor at Jerusalem from the Jebusite Araunah. Jacob bought land outside the walls of Shechem from the Shechemites. Omri bought the site of Samaria. Safed, Tzfat in Hebrew, came to be regarded as a holy city after the influx of Jews following the expulsion of Jews from Spain in 1492, and became known as a center of Kabbalistic scholarship. Tiberias is significant in Jewish history for several reasons. It was the place where the Jerusalem Talmud was composed and served as the final meeting place of the Sanhedrin before its disbanding in 425 CE. Tombs of famous rabbis Yohanan ben Zakkai, Akiva, and Maimonides are also located in the city, and it was also the home of the Masoretes and the place where the Tiberian vocalization was devised. However, its status as a holy city is due to the influx of rabbis who established the city as a center for Jewish learning in the 18th and 19th centuries. According to Jewish tradition, the redemption will begin in Tiberias, and the Sanhedrin, a Jewish judicial and administrative body that served as a court of law and legislative assembly in ancient Israel, will be reconstituted there. Number 3, Judea and Samaria. Under the 1917 Balfour Declaration and the customary international law principle of uti possidetis juris, Israel has sovereignty over Judea and Samaria and Gaza. Before the First Arab-Israeli War in 1948, there were 40,000 Jews in Judea and Samaria. After this war, which the Arabs started in genocidal fashion against the Jews, Jordan illegally annexed Judea and Samaria, rebranded it as the West Bank in a public relations spectacle, and ethnically cleansed the Jews living there through massacre and expulsion. Palestinian propagandists always point to Israel's settlers in Judea and Samaria as evidence of colonialism. This is bogus. Jews returning to where they were forced out of just a few decades earlier is not colonialism. If anything, it is decolonization. Number 4, Mossad. The Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, popularly known as Mossad, is the national intelligence agency of the State of Israel. It is one of the main entities in the Israeli intelligence community, along with Amman and Shin Bet. Mossad means institution in Hebrew. Number 5, the new Jew. For decades now, a new wave of Jewish pride and self-assurance has emerged in Israel, inspired by Israeli Jews' growing self-confidence, resilience, and strength. This new paradigm, often referred to as the new Jew, emphasizes the importance of embracing one's heritage, standing firm in one's Jewishness, and being unrelenting in the face of adversity. The concept of the new Jew can be traced back to the Zionist movement of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Some of the first Zionist thinkers and leaders sought to redefine Jewish identity, moving away from the image of the diaspora Jew, often perceived as passive and persecuted, to a new archetype, strong, self-reliant, and more than capable of self-defense. This vision was actualized with the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, where the new Jew was embodied in the pioneering spirit of the kibbutzim, the bravery of the IDF soldiers, and the innovative minds that contributed to building a modern nation-state. Number 6. Sabra. A sabra is a native-born Israeli, derived from the Hebrew name of a cactus plant, known for its tough exterior and soft interior. The term reflects the character of Israelis, who are often perceived as resilient and straightforward, yet warm and hospitable. Sabras embody the spirit of the new generation of Jews born in the Jewish homeland. Number 7. Yishuv. Yishuv, Hebrew for settlement, refers to the Jewish community in Ottoman-era Palestine before the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. The term came into use in the 1880s, when there were about 25,000 Jews living in that region, and continued to be used until 1948, by which time there were some 630,000 Jews there. A distinction is sometimes drawn between the Old Yishuv and the New Yishuv. The Old Yishuv refers to all the Jews living in the region before the first Zionist immigration wave, Aliyah, of 1882, and to their descendants until 1948. The Old Yishuv residents were largely religious Jews, living in Jerusalem, Safed, Tiberias, and Hebron for the most part. In the final centuries before modern Zionism, a large part of the Old Yishuv spent their time studying the Torah and lived off charity donated by Jews in the diaspora. The term New Yishuv refers to those who adopted a new approach based on economic independence and various national ideologies, rather than strictly religious reasons for settling in the Holy Land. The precursors began building homes outside the old city walls of Jerusalem in the 1860s, with growth in full swing during the first Aliyah of 1882, followed by the founding of neighborhoods and villages until the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. Number 8. Ali al-Bet. Ali al-Bet refers to the clandestine immigration of Jews to Palestine during the British Mandate period, defying British restrictions. This term highlights the determination and resourcefulness of Zionists who risked their lives to ensure Jewish survival and the establishment of a Jewish state. Number 9. Knesset. The Knesset is the unicameral national legislature of Israel. It represents the democratic aspect of Zionism, where diverse political views and parties shape the governance of the state. The Knesset is a testament to the Zionist commitment to democracy and pluralism, featuring more than 20 political parties. Number 10. Muscular Judaism. Muscular Judaism is a term coined by Max Nordau in his speech at the Second Zionist Congress held in Basel in 1898. Born in 1849 in the Kingdom of Hungary, Nordau was one of the founders of the modern Zionist movement, as well as a philosopher, author, physician, and journalist. In his 1898 speech, he spoke about the need to design the new Jew and reject the old Jew. Nordau saw muscular Judaism as an answer to Judenot, Jewish distress. Specifically, he outlined 3 aspects of muscular Judaism, including physical and mental strength, rehabilitating the image of diaspora Jews, and helping to prevent anti-Semitic phenomena. Number 11. Zion. Zion, Zion in Hebrew, is a biblical term referring to Jerusalem and, by extension, the land of Israel. It is the ideological and spiritual core of Zionism, symbolizing the Jewish connection to their ancestral homeland. Zion embodies the religious and cultural aspirations of the Jewish people. In the 19th century, a current in Judaism supporting a return to Zion, a hill near Jerusalem, now in the city, widely symbolizing the land of Israel, grew in popularity as anti-Semitism and hostility toward Jews were growing predominantly across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Number 12. Law of Return. Israel's first law, the Basic Law, granted any Jew anywhere in the world the right to move to Israel to claim Israeli citizenship, a concept of providing Jews with a safe haven, so that what happened during the Holocaust and in other episodes of Jewish persecution during the previous 2,000 years would not happen again. The law of return is neither racist nor peculiarly Israeli. Similar laws have been in effect in such democracies as Mexico, Ireland, Finland, Greece, Poland, Germany, Italy, and Denmark. Furthermore, such laws are expressly permitted by, for example, the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination from 1965. According to Article 1, parentheses 3 of this convention, nations are permitted to favor certain groups for citizenship provided there is no discrimination against any particular group. Furthermore, Article 1, parentheses 4, provides for affirmative action. That is, a state may employ a preference in granting citizenship to undo the effects of prior discrimination. In the case of Israel, such prior episodes of discrimination are clear. The British decision in 1939, for example, to bar Jewish immigration to British-era Palestine, thereby consigning millions of Jews to deaths in the crematoria of Europe. To an exceedingly small degree, the law of return helps to mitigate this wrong. Number 13, Israel. Jewish peoplehood began with Abraham, who, according to the Bible, was the first Jew. He married Sarah, and they had a son, Isaac, who married Rebekah, and they had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Jacob married both Leah and Rachel, who gave birth to 12 sons. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are known as the patriarchs of Judaism, while the matriarchs are Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah. Jacob became known as Israel, which means to wrestle with God, and hence the Jewish people are also known as the children of Israel, and the rebirth of Israel has led to the reintroduction of Judaism as a nationality. Number 14, Kotel. In the time of Moses, Jews were expected to believe in the one true God, as instructed in the first two of the Ten Commandments. They were also expected to behave a certain way, as instructed by the rest of the commandments, along with other rules and regulations provided by God in the written Torah. Eventually, Moses led the Jewish people back to the Promised Land, to the land of Israel, though he himself was unable to lead them into Israel. His successor Joshua did so. Around the year 1270 BCE, the Jewish people, under the leadership of Joshua, had a home, but they had not yet built the Holy Temple. After 300 years in the Holy Land, the Holy Temple was built in the 10th century BCE. The temple became the center of our Jewish life. In 586 BCE, the temple was destroyed, only to be rebuilt some 70 years later. During this period, Jews were not mandated to live in Israel exclusively, but they were expected to make pilgrimage to Jerusalem 3 times each year, specifically to the Holy Temple, where they would bring sacrifices and honor God. Jewish life was about how to live morally, how to mark time with rituals, how to celebrate holidays, how to live a structured day, week, month, and year, and how to honor God. And the temple was at the center of it. Then, the second temple was destroyed in the year 70 CE. Jews were exiled from Jerusalem by the Romans, and most of this form of Judaism was completely crushed. The Kotel, in Hebrew, and Western Wall in English, standing 62 feet tall, is a portion of ancient limestone wall from the Second Temple period in the Old City of Jerusalem, forming part of the larger retaining wall of the hill, known to Jews and Christians as the Temple Mount. Number 15. Diaspora. The term diaspora describes Jews living outside Israel. The Zionist movement seeks to address the challenges and opportunities of Jewish life in the diaspora, while advocating for a strong connection to Israel. The relationship between Israel and the diaspora is integral to Zionist ideology, emphasizing unity and mutual support. In his book, Why Do Jewish?, Zach Bodner tells the story of a visionary named Yohanan ben Zakkai. The year was 70 CE, 70 years after Jesus was born, and Rome attacked Jerusalem. And by attacking, I mean leveling the place. The Jewish zealots, who were leading the defense against the Roman attack, declared that no one was allowed to leave the city of Jerusalem unless they were in a coffin, wrote Bodner. But Ben Zakkai realized that if Jerusalem fell and the Holy Temple was destroyed, Judaism as they knew it could become extinct. No survivors would mean no passing on Jewish life to future generations. So Ben Zakkai came up with a plan to sneak out of Jerusalem by faking his own death. He had his students build him a coffin and carry him out of the city as if he was actually dead. The ruse worked. Ben Zakkai's students snuck him out of Jerusalem and brought the coffin to the tent of the Roman general Vespasian. When they set down the coffin, Ben Zakkai popped out and hailed Vespasian as Caesar. Vespasian, no doubt a bit surprised, challenged Ben Zakkai by saying, "I am not Caesar. Caesar is back in Rome." But at that very moment, a messenger from Rome arrived to tell Vespasian that Caesar was killed, and now he was the new Caesar. Vespasian, moved by the Jewish man's prophecy, turned to Ben Zakkai and asked how he could compensate him. Ben Zakkai did not ask for money or power. Instead, he asked to be put in charge of a school called Yavne, where Jewish students learned, famously saying, "Give me Yavne and its sages." Vespasian obliged, and it was at that school where Ben Zakkai and his students created the future of Jewish life, wrote Bodner. At that moment, Judaism began to evolve for its second time, so that it could be relevant and meaningful in a time when the Jews were dispersed from Jerusalem, when the Holy Temple was destroyed, and Judaism could no longer be what it was. Yohanan ben Zakkai began a religious revolution. The Holy Temple evolved into synagogues. The priests became rabbis. Animal sacrifice transitioned to prayer. And the study of our sacred texts became central to the meaning of practicing Judaism in a post-Holy Temple period. "This is the Judaism," wrote Bodner, "we've been practicing for the last 2,000 years.